When visiting public places, many people may also tend to look down into their phone, or maybe even just look down in general to distract themselves from noticing that there's people around them. They may do this because they are afraid of people noticing them. They may think that people are perceiving them in a particular way. The best way to overcome this is to face it. When you are in a public or crowded area, do not look down at your phone. Do not look down at your feet. Look up and keep walking. Allow yourself to know that you will be okay in the end. If your anxiety attacks are happening because you are too busy thinking of the future, ask yourself, why are you thinking so far ahead? Because it's only causing you to worry. It's only making you anxious, and it's only making you feel like you're not doing good enough in the present moment. Sometimes thinking too much about the past may cause you to be depressed, and thinking too much about the future will cause you to be overwhelmed. Hey y'all, it's Tanala, and today we will be talking about how to overcome anxiety. Okay, so the steps that I'm going to give you is just going to help you overcome it. I want you to be aware that these changes, it may not happen overnight. It is a process. Well, it isn't going to happen overnight, okay? I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. I'm just going to keep it real with you. It is all a process, and really the first step is being aware that it's a process and that it's going to take time. After you put in all of the steps that I'm going to explain, be consistent with it, okay? Because as soon as you slack off with it, the anxiety is going to come back. I'm going to suggest a few ways that will help you to overcome anxiety. So anxiety is a struggle that many of us live with, but a lot of us don't really like admitting it. A lot of us are also unaware of what exactly anxiety is. We may experience a few of the symptoms, but we are actually unaware that it is actually anxiety that we are going through. So yeah, we're just going to get right into it. Whatever you do not try to make yourself busy to overcome anxiety. And that's the same for depression as well. I feel like that's something that a lot of people think that they should do whenever their mind is racing with negative thoughts. It may be thoughts about the future, thoughts about the past, negative thoughts mixed with a little bit of positive thoughts, just thoughts. Millions and millions of thoughts that is racing through your mind, causing you to be anxious and afraid. Many people tend to avoid it or just brush it off when they are facing these thoughts. They may avoid it by trying to surround themselves around people, or by always leaving their home because they don't really like being alone, because when they are alone they may face a lot of these thoughts. They may also lean towards substance abuse as well, just to take their mind off of the anxious or overwhelming thoughts that they may be experiencing. Whenever you are going through anxiety and you have thoughts that make you feel very anxious, do not run from it. Do not try to make yourself busy to stop these thoughts, because guess what? They're going to come back. Okay, that's not a good way of resolving the issue at all. You must face it. Face those thoughts that you are feeling. Spend time alone. Ask yourself, why are you having these thoughts? Get to the very root of the thought and figure out what triggers those thoughts. Get to what triggers you to feel these type of emotions and to cause your mind to race with anxious thoughts. Many people may experience anxiety by going to public places or just crowded areas. Their hearts may begin to pound. Their mind may tend to race with several thoughts. They may be wondering what may be going through people's mind as they walk past them. And majority of the time, all of the thoughts that they are having in that particular moment is negative. So many people may tend to avoid crowded areas or avoid going to public places alone because it makes them feel uncomfortable and it causes anxiety. But the best way to get over that is to face it. This may make you feel very uncomfortable, but I'm just being honest. It is best that you actually start going more places alone. And when you go to those places alone, you have to find a way to stop yourself from thinking negative thoughts. Stop believing that people are perceiving you in a bad way just because you are walking past them. When visiting public places, many people may also tend to look down into their phone, or maybe even just look down in general to distract themselves from noticing that there's people around them. That is a form of anxiety. They may do this because they are afraid of people noticing them. They may think that people are perceiving them in a particular way. The best way to overcome this is to face it. When you are in a public or crowded area, do not look down at your phone. Do not look down at your feet. Look up and keep walking, okay? If your heart begins to pound, take deep breaths. Allow yourself to know that you will be okay in the end. If negative thoughts begin to run across your mind while you are in public, correct yourself. Flip whatever negative thought you are having into a positive thought. For example, sometimes if someone is staring at you in public, you may tend to think that they are forming a negative opinion about you, and that may cause an anxiety attack as well. Instead of thinking that just because someone is staring at you, they have a negative opinion about you, flip it into a more positive one. As an example, a person with anxiety may think that a person who is staring at them may think that they are ugly. What you need to do is flip it to a positive in your mind. Maybe you could think of them staring because they are just observing. Maybe they like something that you are wearing. Maybe they actually don't think you are ugly. Flip your anxious thoughts into a positive one, especially while in public. Most of the time, anxiety attacks may happen due to being reminded of a feeling that they may have felt in the past. Maybe as a child, you were yelled at a lot and it may have caused emotional damage. Therefore, you tend to have anxiety attacks every time someone raises their voice at you. Actually take some time and think about why you are having an attack in that particular moment. You are being reminded of the past. So identify that trigger and find ways to overcome it. If the attacks keep happening and you don't know where exactly it is coming from, it makes it very difficult for you to overcome your anxiety. Okay, next. Journal out your feelings at all times. I cannot stress how important that is. I have mentioned this in several of my videos because journaling is so important. And I always mention that I don't care how old you are, you should have a journal and you should journal out your thoughts and your feelings. After you have an anxiety attack, go to a peaceful place and journal out the attack. Be sure to journal out how you felt in that particular moment and what you believe triggered it. Writing it out helps you to release so many emotions. This helps to ease the attack and calm down any negative emotions that you may be feeling. As you are writing them down, you may realize that they are actually just negative thoughts, and many of them are very unrealistic. Next, as I also mentioned before, many anxiety attacks are due to many feelings that we may have felt in the past. So if your anxiety attacks are due to feelings from the past, ask yourself, why are you holding on to those same feelings from the past? If your anxiety attacks are happening because you are too busy thinking of the future, ask yourself, why are you thinking so far ahead? Because it's only causing you to worry. It's only making you anxious, and it's only making you feel like you're not doing good enough in the present moment. Sometimes thinking too much about the past may cause you to be depressed, and thinking too much about the future will cause you to be overwhelmed. If your anxiety attacks are happening due to things that may have happened in the past, allow yourself to completely let go of the past. Forgive everyone from your past who may have done you wrong, and just completely let it go. Also, it may help to come to the realization that many of the things that happened in the past, yeah, it may have hurt it, but majority of the time, many of the situations that you went through have taught you lessons. It is also okay to think about the future and to think good things about the future, but do not stress yourself out about it. It is okay to think good things about the future, but do not allow stress about the future to cause an anxiety attack. Do not beat yourself up about where you currently are just because you haven't made it to your future goals yet. Only worry about today. Think about what you can do now that will get you to where you want to be at in the future. Do not allow negative thoughts to overtake your mind and make you feel like you have just been going around in circles. Do not allow your thoughts to make it feel like you aren't going anywhere or you aren't accomplishing anything. Applaud yourself for progression, because half of the time we make so much progression towards our goals and towards the things that we want in the future, but we don't realize it because we're too focused on the end goal. A lot of anxiety attacks may also be caused by fear. Do not fear what is in store for you. Know that you will be able to achieve it as long as you do everything in the present moment that you can right now without stress. Do not worry. Do not fear your future. Do not fear failure. Do not fear the unknown. Create a plan for your future and walk by faith, not by fear. Next, if you are spiritual, you can go to God about anything. You can go to God about your attacks and allow Him to help you overcome it. Be very specific in your prayer. Let Him know the problems that you're facing and that you are willing to do anything to overcome them. Most of the time, He will then begin to place many of the same situations in your life that may be causing the attacks, all because He is giving you a way to overcome them. He is trying to get you out of the fear of being in those situations that is causing the attacks. He may be strengthening your mindset in the whole process of placing you in the same situations just so that you can learn how to control your attack and react in a different way. Like I said before, face it. Facing your attacks. He may place you in situations where you have no choice but to face it. And once you start facing it, that's when the attacks begin to disappear. Next, stop creating negative scenarios. Negative scenarios will most definitely cause anxiety attack. This is something that may be very difficult to overcome. As I said before, fighting those negative scenarios with more positive scenarios may help. Majority of the time, the scenarios that you create in your head never even become true. So just basically being aware that you are thinking negative and that the scenario is something that your mind made up will also help you to overcome it. Overcoming anxiety is all a process. Be aware that Things take time. Compliment yourself for the small changes that you begin to make, and you'll begin to change even more. You'll begin to see the attacks decreasing even more. When you beat yourself up just because you haven't seen the full outcome yet, that slows down progress. It puts you back in square one every single time. So basically, applauding yourself and just being aware that you have made more progress than you think, it will help a lot. It will help you during the whole process. Just know that you are not alone. If your anxiety makes you feel alone, just know that you aren't. There are many people in this world who have anxiety and they don't even realize that they have it. They just know that they have thoughts that are eating them alive. Know that you are not alone, and just be sure to apply these steps consistently, okay? Journal out your thoughts. Figure out what it is that trigger you. Overcome it and just let go of your fears and just face it. It is possible to overcome anxiety. It is all a mental thing. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope and pray that this video helped someone out there who may be trying to overcome anxiety and figure out ways to just get through it. You are not alone. I'm here for you, and I'm sure that you have many people around you who are there for you as well. You are not your anxiety, and I'm here to tell you that you will overcome it. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure to like this video so that it can reach other people. Be sure to drop a comment below if you feel like this video may help you. Also, be sure to subscribe. I love y'all so much. Bye.